Big news out of Montreal as a new source from the Western Conference, an anonymous source, has said that David Savard is, quote, likely to be traded and he will likely fetch a first-round draft pick. This is a big development on the Habs trade front, but it's not just that. We got to talk about Patrik Laine being back at practice with the boys for the first time this year, looking pretty comfortable out there in his non-contact jersey. And finally, we got to have a couple of quick notes on TSN's top core under 24 ranking, where Montreal ranks number 1, and a note on Bruins coach Jim Montgomery and some rumblings that might just link Montreal to him. We got a bunch of stuff to cover coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. And Jesse, we're going to start just quickly with a couple quick hitters here. This is going to be a fast video. Jim Montgomery. This comes from a Sportsnet article. I'll link it down below. But they said the most compelling conspiracy theory, a theory, not a report, is that Montreal may be keeping an eye on Jim Montgomery. He's a bilingual Montreal native, Jack Adams winner. He had the best record in the NHL during his tenure in Boston before getting fired just yesterday. And, people are saying, oh, it's similar to Claude Julien. Jesse, I'm just going to come out and say, I don't see this happening. I see Jim Montgomery absolutely getting a head coaching job. You got teams like Detroit who are probably on the verge of firing their coach, who would love to have a Jim Montgomery. But hey, if there's any semblance of truth that Montreal might even be looking into this, into bringing him in as an assistant coach, I would be thrilled. I think that could be a great move.
This is what we've been waiting for. Maybe not for Jim Montgomery, but just for the Boston Bruins and Pittsburgh Penguins to kind of fall off a little bit. I digress, right? But does Kent Hughes propose him some type of position within the Montreal organization? Again, what just makes this all a lot spicier is the fact that he's from Montreal. We know that he's bilingual. That's almost a prerequisite to be a coach in Montreal 9 times out of 10. So That's the big thing. I would just have to feel, even though obviously his, winning a Jackie Adams, his track record really speaks for himself. But, right now, I don't think that Kent Hughes would even put him as an assistant coach. I think that would just put so much pressure on Martin St. Louis, and that it would have to be some other position in the NHL. You have to say, though, that there's probably some interesting conversations going on right now between Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon about this whole situation. Probably just not the best time for right now.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to happen. This is just a theory as it is, speculation, but have fun with it down below. Let us know if you like it, if you don't like it. I want to hear a lot of people talking about this because I've seen a lot of Habs fans. They've definitely shared their opinions already, but we're quickly moving on to the second topic. Now, if you've been paying close attention, you'll know that TSN did their rankings of top core 4 under 24 in the NHL, and guess who tops the list, Jesse? It's our boys, the Montreal Canadiens. They are number 1 in their core 4 plus more. Their core 4 under 24 is Cole Caufield, Ivan Demidov, Juraj Slafkovsky, and Lane Hutson, with Caufield and Demidov both getting that AA or elite player ranking. Now, there's only a few AAA players, which was the superstar. I think it was Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini, and someone else. Not even Michkov got the AAA, which is interesting to see. But it's not just these 4. Even though they rank number 1 here, there's more to it than that. We got Caufield and Demidov there at AA, both AA. We got Slav, Hutson, Fowler, and Guhle all in the A tier. A tier being number 1 goalie, top pairing defenseman, top line player, basically a top end producer at their position. So you got all these guys at A tier, and Hage, Mayu, and Reinbach are all there at B. Jesse, I think this is pretty well deserved. I think a lot of Habs fans figure the same. Craig Button was very complimentary, but to see Montreal right at the top of this list, it just feels just amazing to see. And this Suzuki's barely out of this list too. There's so many talented guys.
That's a solid point. And it's really our combination of different skills that really separates us from every other team in the NHL. We see some teams where they got a bunch of forwards, but they don't really got that guy in defense. But we've kind of spread it out. We got 3 forwards, we got 2 defensemen, a star goalie. So we're really spreading out the love here. But this, Josh, what's interesting about this, the big takeaway, this highlights the plan for Kent Hughes. We all know it, but Kent, he's in the kitchen. He likes to cook always. We see the plan. It's for all these star players to enter their prime at the same time. This has been the plan. It's then once they're getting into their primes to add those trades, to add those free agents to it to really complement everything. So this is the reason why that Kent Hughes is being a little bit patient. We get it. Even on the show here, we get a little bit hasty sometimes, right? We just want the best for this team. But Kent Hughes is actually showing good leadership by being patient. We see that often, not being hasty. Being patient is the way to go in life. So Kent, he has his plan here, and it's very much revolving around this core four, rightfully at the very top of the NHL.
Oh, that's awesome, right? And like being patient is hard to do sometimes when you're part of an organization that is so used to winning. Now, Montreal hasn't been like at that top of the NHL for like many, many years in a row for a while. But right now, this is really the first time that a lot of us have experienced a full-out teardown, right? Full-out rebuild. And it's hard to temper expectations when you're doing that, when you're not used to it, when you're used to making trades, trying to compete every year. But having what they have here, like Craig Button said, like you said, it's just, there's no reason to get impatient with this rebuild. Good stuff is coming over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes of it. My gosh, let us know what you guys think down below. Is that fair to have Montreal number 1? I sure think so, but maybe some of you down below might disagree. Jesse, I want to move in to the next topic, and we got to talk about our boy Patrik Laine. We're going to play this again because he was back at practice today. He was taking some reps before practice, and Eric Engels tweeted out, hey, Patrik Laine's sticking around. He stuck around in the non-contact jersey, but looking pretty fast, you know, people poking their sticks in there, playing a bit of keep away. It's been amazing to see him on the ice, and honestly, this is the most excited I've been in ages, and I feel like, you know, us as fans were naturally a bit conservative with this injury estimate. When they said 2 to 3 months, a lot of us were already saying, let's just push it to 3, right? Let's just say 3. Make sure he's back healthy. Don't rush it. But right now, based on all accounts, like 2 months from the time he got injured is only a few weeks away. Early December would be about 2 months, which still fits within that time frame. Again, I don't think they should rush him, but seeing that he's already almost progressing back to full-out practice, Jesse, it has to fill you with a bit of hope.
Full out practice indeed. There's even clips of him like doing spinoramas at full speed. And I was like, I'm worried watching. I'm like, no, Patrik, no, it's too early. But like, he is giving this knee a workout early on. You have to feel like, you know, obviously what's so nice about this is really timing up as the Habs game is starting to get better. So it's just such a big morale boost. You have to feel as well like he's motivated to potentially play in that Four Nations here. But yeah, to see him ahead of schedule and again, you know, to doing the things that he's really doing right now is so encouraging. We know what he really can bring to this team. So you have to feel like it's this big for the organization right now. We're kind of starting to get on a little bit of an upswing. So this is exactly what this team wants to see, having him there at practice where he belongs.
All right, quick hitter question. When he comes back, do you think he starts right away on that top line, or are we saying second line? I don't see him on the third or fourth line. I don't think there's any way we do that. But right now, again, the top line is Slafkovsky, Suzuki, Dach, and the second line, as of right now, is Caufield, Evans, Newhook. To me, I think fitting him in on that second line makes sense. But I don't know. Like, I'm starting to think maybe they go back to Caufield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky so that you don't have Laine and Cole on that same line, because then that puts a lot of pressure on your playmakers at center. And if that's Jake Evans or Newhook, it doesn't quite work. To me, I think we might go back to that old trio we saw at the end of last year. You put Laine out there with maybe Dach and Newhook, or maybe Dach and Evans or something. What do you think? Top line, second line?
Optimally, like, you know, I see the point of having them, you know, kind of on the second line, that it's a lot of shooters there. Slav hasn't shown that he can really kind of drive his own line, so there's a strong argument to get him on first. I get that. I think just kind of logistically speaking, coming back, he's on that second line, finding that groove. But if his game shows any semblance of what it's been before, he's going to get on that top line, which I think really fits with him and Suzuki as well. So, you know, definitely interested to see, but we just know like our top six isn't complete without him, right? So this is really like that fundamental change of having everybody in their right position. I would maybe love to see like Cole, Evans, and then Laine there together to bring Newhook onto that 3C. That's where he'll get his points. You know, he's better than most 3Cs, but he's not quite better than most 2Cs. So this is why he's not getting those points. So I think that could kind of be two birds with one stone right there.
This will be really interesting to see. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. PP1 right away, though. I think that's basic. I would love to see that right away. Or maybe they have him do the PP2 with Lane Hudson. Honestly, you know, I don't even know. I'm just excited for Patrik Laine, and I hope you guys are too. But we got to talk. This is going rapid fire today. No downtime. There's no time to click away from this video. We got to talk about David Savard, some trade rumors, and an anonymous Western Conference source had this to say recently in an article for RG.org that I will link down below if you guys want to go check it out. Boom. He's a cup-winning top 4 right-shot defenseman. I don't know if we'd necessarily pay a first-round pick for him. I'm assuming he's speaking for some team in the West that we don't know. But another team with real cup aspirations surely could without anyone raising an eyebrow. From what I'm hearing and seeing, Savard will likely be moved. He also said that Montreal and San Jose likely have the best assets in terms of tradable defensemen at this deadline because the market's not that big. He also said that if Montreal can get a first-round pick or a good prospect for him, I don't see why the Canadiens don't make the move. They're almost dead last with only Laine out with injury. Something's got to give. And if we just take a quick look at David Savard's stats, I mean, they're not like hyper impressive in terms of numbers, but he's blocked 48 shots this year in just 18 games. He gets some hits. He lays the body on the line. He has proven to be a great mentor. He has a Stanley Cup. He's been through the ringer in terms of the playoffs. Jesse, I think people saying that the Habs have no shot at getting a first-round pick for Savard, I don't even, I think they're wrong. I think clearly we got a source in the NHL that thinks the Habs could get a first-round pick for him. We've seen the Habs give first-round picks for guys like Ben Sherratt in the past, and Monahan, while he was amazing for Montreal, there were still concerns. Would they really get a first-round pick? They did. So the market, if it's not that big of a market and Savard is that premium guy, I think it's becoming more and more likely Montreal might just get a really good haul for him.
And similar to Monahan, they'll probably pull the trigger as soon as kind of they get what they're really looking for. They don't need to wait all the time until the trade deadline. There's been a lot of rumors. Normally where there's smoke, there's fire. We're hearing this from a lot of different outlets right now. For myself, Josh, I would trade Matheson before trading David Savard, but Savard is still more likely to be traded. The big reasons for that are he's 34 years old. And then again, as you mentioned, like the limited market. So what you'll get for Savard is probably a little bit higher, even though you could get a larger haul back for Matheson there. But this is an interesting kind of subject, right? Because you don't want a Dion Phaneuf type of situation with David Savard. At the same time, we know that we need vets still on defense and on that right side. I would say like an ideal world is you're trading Matheson, you're getting back a big value, giving more space for Hudson and Bro. But then, with David Savard, if you can kind of get him on that 1 year type of deal, as we allow some of our young D to kind of season a little bit more, the reason he's more likely to be traded though is he's going to want a little bit more term. Let's be real here. He's going to want to sign for more than kind of a 1 year deal. I think he probably deserves that at this point in his career. So he'll probably be looking for that elsewhere, which is most likely why he'll be finding another home before the end of this season.
Yeah, I would say so. And again, like especially when you can retain, because Montreal still has one retention slot. Who knows who they're going to use it on? It might still be someone like Dvorak, though. He's been bouncing back a bit lately. Those faceoffs have finally climbed, Jesse. After that brutal start to the season, he's up well above 50% now, which is great to see. So anyway, but if you can retain on Savard, a guy who can eat up minutes, he can eat up anywhere from 17 to 22 minutes a game if you need him to. He's got that playoff experience, that playoff style, right-hand shot veteran, and you can retain half of his salary at the deadline. A lot of teams are going to come knocking, and that is very valuable. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But to hear he is likely to be traded, these reports, like you said, Jesse, they're coming out of pretty much every outlet right now. So let us know down below if you think this might happen sooner rather than later, because that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel like you guys always do. We really appreciate all the support. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.